Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Good morning, Skip. How you doing today?
Boom. What? Hit. Whew. Hurt my eyes, Jenny.
Too much?
Oh, I need some sunglasses.
I see you replaced that old bootleg watch you had.
Bootleg Seiko?
Yeah, it was bootleg.
I got it with the new Seiko here.
I like it.
That one was bootleg. You got it from your time in New York.
Yeah, on the street.
I don't think he would
Bought it
fall
on the
for that.
street.
Oh, yes, he would.
You know, Ernestine bought it for my birthday on the street in New York.
Don't
From a
put that-
guy who is here today and gone tomorrow,
Skip,
right?
Skip.
Probably not.
Don't put that on
Probably
Ernestine.
not.
Don't put that on Ernestine.
Okay.
She's
well,
not here to
that's-
defend
She
herself.
got it for me, so
Yeah, she's got good taste.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about
I don't know if I
can
can take your word over hers.
Yep,
but
well.
You say so.
Yep.
Okay.
She takes my word.
Exactly.
Let's see whose word we will all take today. We have a lot to get to on today's show. Why is Russell Wilson mad at the Seahawks? And
question.
a different quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Why is he avoiding his new coach?
Now that's a
But we
good
are going to
question.
start with Russell Westbrook. He rolled into the arena last night wearing a Crenshaw shirt, and he clearly wanted to dominate. Westbrook had the first 20-point, 20-rebound, 20-assist game since Wilt Chamberlain back in 1968. The game was basically over in the final minute when Billy Donovan tried to take Russ out, but he waved his coach off because he was 2 rebounds shy of 20. Russ got 2 boards in the final minute, and after the game, he said his historic performance was for his friend, Nipsey Hussle, who was tragically shot and killed in LA over the weekend. So let's take a listen.
Russ, talk about the emotions, talk about your performance tonight.
The overwhelming, man, is unbelievable to go out and humbled and grateful to play the game, man, but that wasn't for me, man. That was for my bro, man. That's for Nipsey, man. 20 plus 20 plus 20. They know what that means, man. That's for my bro. Rest in peace, Nipsey, man. I'm just thankful to be able to go out and compete at a high level, man. Thankful to have these teammates. Thankful and humble to be able to go out and play the game I love.
All right, good to get that interview in. Shannon, how impressive was Russ's night?
It was very impressive. Of all the Russ triple-doubles, I think he has 135 now. This is the most impressive one. And the points, you set that aside, even though he shot terrible from the field. I think points is the easiest part of the triple-double. Now we get to the 20-20. Skip, I think of all the greats that you can be on a list with, the most impressive one of all of them is Wilt Chamberlain. Because
Statistically. Yeah, right.
Because most of the time, he's there alone. There's no one else there with him. So if you joined him, that means at the dinner table, it's you and him.
That is correct.
Skip, when you look at it, a 6'3" guard got 20 rebounds. We see 20-20 games all the time. Andre Drummond, he has the most since Moses Malone in the early 80s. We've seen guys get 30-30. I think Kevin Love was the last guy to get a 30-30 game. We've seen those.
Okay.
There's only been 2 of these. How much of an anomaly is this? There have been more quadruple doubles in which a guy has 4 double-digit in steals, assists, rebounds, and points or blocks than this. Let that sink in for a second. There have been 4 of those games. Now there are only 2 of these games. And you say, well, 20 assists. Assists is not as easy as you think for the simple fact, Skip, guys got to make shots. 20 times he put a guy in position. 20 times they capitalize for it. It's not easy because we've seen guys try for so long. A guy needs 8, has 8 assists, he needs 2. And he's trying for the last 2-3 minutes of the game, and they can't buy a bucket. So 20, 20, 20. And Skip, when you look at this, the previous 9 games, they were 2-7. So it wasn't like this was a throwaway game, and I get it. Second day of April. What does that mean? Well, the way they were playing and the way, we're going to be in the playoffs, but this is not how you want to go into the playoffs. And you know you're in the 8 spot. You know who's in the 1 spot. Do you really want to be playing this bad and you have to go up against that juggernaut? Because they showed you last night, when they want to turn it up and they feel motivated to play, they can run through anybody in any given moment.
Also true.
So, Skip, I was very impressed. And I was watching the game, and I was like, man, Russ got 10 assists in the first quarter. First thing that went through my mind, it wasn't a 20-20-20 game. I was like, he gonna break Scott Skiles' record of 30 assists in a game, in which he did in 1990. Scott Skiles, I mean, a lot of you have to probably go back and YouTube him, Skip. But he could dish the ball.
Not me.
No, I know you remember. He was the first of the second one. Magic was the first Michigan State guard. And then he came along, and then you got McLeave and this young man now. But Scott Skiles dished the ball out. Skip, this was very impressive. It was very impressive. I mean, a 6'3". I'm trying to think who I thought could do this. Maybe LeBron, but I'm like, well, how's LeBron going to get 20 rebounds? Giannis. How is Giannis going to get 20 assists? You would have never thought it would have been a big guy. You know what? Even as great as Wilt was, and he had some 40-30 games.
He did.
You'd have never thought a guy 7 foot tall would dish out 20 assists, Skip.
Can you explain that to me, please? 21 on that night?
I don't
you realize
know.
that year in 1968, he averaged 9 assists a game at 7 feet 1 inch tall. How did he do it? Because he was known as the most selfish player ever,
Right.
but he was getting.
Yeah.
He once led the league in assists, though, Skip.
How do you do that? 21 assists, 7-1? Wow.
A 6'3" guy
Okay.
got a 20-20-20
Yep.
game.
Okay.
And I think this is the most impressive of all the triple-doubles. Of all 135, this is the most impressive one.
Okay. I am with you on that. And I do need one point of order because I've campaigned for years about this. A triple-double should require 20-plus points. You can't have a 10-point triple-double. It's
Oh, you don't want the
it's
Kidd
just
triple-double?
wrong. That's a Jason Kidd triple-double. 11, 11, and 11, right?
Doesn't count in your book? All right.
Well, it just doesn't.
I know.
It doesn't ring true to me
Right.
because it's just by accident you could score 10 points. At
Right.
the free throw line,
Agree.
you could score 10 points.
Agree.
So, I was extremely impressed with Russell's pregame, in-game, and post-game tributes. Highly impressive. And I was most impressed with the 21 assists because of Russell's background. He came up as more of a selfish shooter,
Right.
and I used to just rail at him because I love Kevin Durant, and he was taking more shots than Kevin. And he has reinvented himself as an assist maker of the highest order. Now, he did realize, if I get 10-plus assists, I could have triple-doubles.
Right.
So he fell in love with the triple-double, but I predicted 2 years ago he was going to average a triple-double and win MVP, and he did.
Right.
And he's still doing it, and he's still leading the league in assists, which is highly impressive. And 21 assists, I don't care who you are, where you are, it's just hard to get
It is.
21 assists. I was also impressed with the 20 rebounds. Now, you have had issues before with the discounted cheap rebounds,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the game, Billy Donovan said, okay, that's enough of that. And they're up 16. He tried to sub Diallo for Westbrook, and it got a little awkward because Westbrook just said, no. I'm not coming out. And I think the buck stops on this team with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's LeBron-esque in his control of what's happening during the basketball game, right?
Yeah.
So he said, leave me in, and he got 2 discounted rebounds, but he got them.
Right.
Because to your point, at 6'3", to even get 18, let's say he ended with 18.
Right.
Would that not be highly impressive?
Very.
It's just hard. I don't even know how he does it. He does it because he just plays harder than anybody else. And you know what? He's as close to a football player playing basketball as there is.
His
Am I
mentality,
right?
absolutely.
Because it is high collision, high contact, and you can't tell me he's not sore after some of these games because he's diving for loose balls and he's also colliding for loose balls, right?
Skip on 19, did you see? He was in the middle block where normally a 7-footer is.
Okay.
So they got a 6'3" guy.
All right, okay, but he got it.
He got it.
He got it.
How did he get it?
Okay, so you got to give him that. And now, let's back off. For perspective, did they need to win the game? Yes, they needed to win
Yes.
the game because simultaneously, the game I was also watching was San Antonio, Atlanta, and they're vying for the 7-8 at the bottom of the West, and
Correct.
who's going to, quote-unquote, get to or have to play Golden State. So they're playing the Los Angeles Lakers, who are currently in the 10 seed, and they were playing with no LeBron James, no Brandon Ingram, no Kyle Kuzma, no Lonzo Ball. So how impressive was the opposition? Not very. Am I right? Is that fair to say?
Very.
Okay.
That's fair.
So that's one team you could do this against more easily than most. And also, remember, going into last night, Oklahoma City had lost 14 of its last 21. And we did a whole topic yesterday about what's going on with Oklahoma City because over that stretch, which happened, let's start at the sort of the All-Star break, just before the break. They were third in the West, only a game and a half behind Denver, and they have plummeted to eighth in the West.
Correct.
Okay, so just for perspective, why yesterday did we say that that was happening? What was a reason? Obviously, Paul George went from MVP candidate to slump.
Okay.
Hurt his shoulder, missed 3
Hadn't
games.
been the same sense.
But the other reason is Russell Westbrook has been, by his standards, a disaster shooting three-point shots and free throws this year, right?
Yep.
So just for perspective, he was 2 for 9 from 3 last night, so that wasn't very good. But that's kind of been his MO every game this year, because now he's hitting 28.6% of his three-point shots. Do you realize of the 184 players qualified in the three-point category, he's 182nd. He's 182 of 184 shooting threes at 28.6%. So he's been horrendous from 3, right?
But here's the thing, Skip. He's always been horrendous. He's a career 30-point, and now he's down to 28.
Now, this is his worst, okay? And yet he's never been this bad from the free throw line.
Yes.
Of the 122 qualified, he's 115th in the whole NBA at 65.7, even slightly worse than LeBron shot this year, which was his career.
But LeBron has never been a career 80% free throw shooter.
And
Russ
this guy has.
Yes.
So he's got worse demons in his head
Correct.
than LeBron. So I'm just trying to frame this for you. So last night was special to him because he just said, I'm going to do this. And he dedicated it to Nipsey from the start, and he's yelling during the game. That's for Nipsey when he got his 20th rebound.
Right.
Okay, in the big picture, would I prefer that he dedicate the rest of the season to Nipsey? I would.
Yes.
Would I love to hear him say, if they do draw Golden State, and we're not sure, it's still a long ways to go.
Still fluid situation.
Yep.
Yep.
But would I love to hear him say, I'm going to dedicate the Golden State series to Nipsey? I would, because that would be special.
Right.
Because then you'd be doing something that really counted and lasted. That's not an individual. It would be a team achievement, right?
For me, and Skip, watching the game, and he said it because I'm watching Russ. Russ played the same as he always does. He's 100%. You know, if you go see the OKC and Russell Westbrook is playing that night, which normally he does 98% of the time he does, you know he's going to give you all that effort. This had to be something special. This had to be something else. And we see those moments. You remember Brett Favre? Father passed that Sunday. He played that Monday night. And we had never seen Brett play like that. Guys were making plays they had no business making.
I still said the Raiders were watching that night. Like it just seemed like the DBs were just watching.
Yeah, like what's going on here? And watching Russ and see him get rebound after rebound after rebound, as I said before, Skip, you're explaining it. Him getting 19 rebounds, he's in a spot that normally a 6'8", 6'9", 7-foot guy is occupying. He's down there amongst the trees as a weed, and he gets the ball. He just wanted it more he wants the ball more than anybody else on the court.
Yeah, it's also athleticism, explosion.
Yes.
Physical toughness.
He's diving. He wants the ball. He wants to win. I never question whether or not he wants to win. I never question whether or not he's playing hard, because I know I'm getting his absolute best effort. I don't always agree with how he plays the game. Sometimes I think he takes shots that he doesn't need to take. But last night was as good a performance that I've seen in a very, very long time. I never thought, like I said, I don't even know when I was born in 68. So I don't even know if I was alive when Wilt actually did this. Maybe it was February 68 because I was born in June.
February 2nd.
Yeah, so that was months before I was even born, to let you know how special this moment is. And I never thought, it never really dawned on me, Skip, that I would ever see a 20-20-20 game again.
Of course, I covered this game on February 2nd.
Really?
I did.
I was like, wait,
I was
no,
just
that
a
doesn't
little
make
kid.
sense.
No, you weren't no little kid. Stop saying
But in
that.
your head, you were covering
full
it.
time.
You were preparing.
Do you realize in those days in my childhood, this wasn't on television. Like, we didn't even know what the NBA was yet.
You heard about
I'm serious. It was all college basketball.
Yes.
It was a lot college football.
Yes.
It was some NFL. It was starting to take shape and catch fire, but not like these games. Okay, so Wilt went on that year in Philadelphia. That was I think it was his last year in Philly before he went to LA.
Right.
And once again, they lost in the second round of the playoffs in 7 games to Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics.
Right.
Games that were not on television.
Right.
Okay? Wow.
Just imagine, because think about how that was, Skip. Just think, some of the great moments.
Yep.
Just imagine if Tom Brady's performance against the Falcons.
Yep.
You didn't know about it until the next day. You had to read about it, but you didn't get a chance to see it.
Yep.
But remember, Magic Johnson, when they won the finals in his rookie year, their games were tape delayed.
They were.
You weren't watching like, oh boy, look at Magic dishing. No, you saw it after having already known they had won. My sister can watch games like that, Skip. She will tape a game, know who won, and says, now I can watch it in peace.
Really?
Yes,
I
that's
can
how
do
she
that.
watch a lot of the sporting events. She don't want to watch it because
Really?
she feels she's gonna jinx
Too
it.
stressful?
So she'll tape the game and then sit down. Oh yeah, I know who won now. I can watch it in peace. I'm like,
Maybe that's how I
what?
should do it.
What? But what?
They add years to my life.
Maybe.
But Skip, but here's the thing: you already know who won.
No, I got it.
But this Skip, I mean, 20. I don't think people realize this. There's two people. Do you know how hard it is to get a quadruple double, Skip? There have been 4 guys that has quadruple doubles on their resumes.
With blocks?
All of them have. Alvin Robertson did it with steals, but Elijah Wan, Nate Thurman, and David Robinson did it with blocks.
Yep.
There are 4 guys. There are only 2 20.
Okay.
That lets you know just how special what he did. Look, there are a lot of people that don't like Russ, and he's selfish, he ran KD away. I get all that. So some of that might be true. But you cannot knock what he did last night, even if you don't like the point where he shot Shannon 8 of 23. Okay, good. So let's just say he shot 15 of 75. What does that got to do with those 20 rebounds and 20 assists?
Okay.
Explain that.
Okay. So speaking of people who don't like Russell Westbrook, I used to not like him, just to reframe all this. And going back to 2012-13, I was out of my mind on the old show I did on ESPN because Russell Westbrook that year took 102 more shots than Kevin Durant. And I was the biggest Durant fan, even from his 1 year at Texas. And I predicted as he came in the league, he would win multiple scoring titles, and he began to go right up that curve for me. And the next year after 12-13, by the way, he won his first MVP. Okay, so I was going crazy about Russell Westbrook. How can you do this to Kevin Durant? And Russell was mad at me, and then Kevin got mad at me for being mad at Russell, and it was a big mess that year. But the point was, I now feel sorry for Russell because it still sticks in my craw that Kevin finally said, I can't take this anymore.
Right.
I'm going to leave you high and dry. And he left him pretty high and dry.
He's going to be known, Skip. He will be known because I believe he's going to pass Oscar's 181 career triple doubles. I believe he'll pass that number. But what he's probably going to be most known for is that he chased Kevin Durant away.
He will be known for that. And unless he could somehow revalidate himself as a winner in and of himself.
Right.
So he needs to win something.
Yes.
Is it possible to win with this group? Well, I told you yesterday, I would not be shocked if this group, as bad as it had been when we talked about it yesterday, losing 14 of its last 21, I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to Golden State, if in fact it is Golden State, and steals game 1 in Oakland. I would not be shocked at that at all because this group it has nuclear capability on any. It's like you were just talking about Golden State on any given night.
Yes.
When these guys lock in, when Russ, like you say, he always plays this hard.
Right.
But if he can get some shots to fall,
Right.
and get hot and get on a roll with Paul George, and if they start feeding off each other, this is still a dangerous team. Steven Adams is still dangerous.
Still a big, yep.
Yep. So they have the capability of going in and shocking somebody, and maybe they'll take off now. Maybe they'll take off and leave the Spurs in the dust, and the Spurs will have to deal with Golden State.
Skip, I don't know if they're going to shoot 13 or 44 and beat Golden State. I don't know if you can shoot 29% and beat Golden State from the three-point line. You're going to probably need to be in the high 30s, maybe even the 40s, because you're going to have to match them. And you're not going to get G League guys. And that's what the Lakers trotted out there last night. Caruso might be a nice little backup.
You know what? He has sneaky athleticism.
You see him flush on him? He turn the corner, boom, like, whoa.
Yep, sneaky.
You can do that.
Yep, he can do that.
But Nipsey Hussle had a different influence, Skip. And I didn't really know his music. I knew him more for what he was trying to do for his community. Skip, give me a second. All my life, I grew up trying to become something to remove myself from the environment in which I came. Most of us do that. Most athletes, black athletes, I can't speak to white because I don't know what's going through, but I can speak to the black community. Skip, most of us want to grow up to leave that because they're like, nah, I don't want to be a part of this. But that's not what this young man did.
Did not.
He became something, stayed in the community, tried to empower others to say, yeah, you can leave, but you can stay and be prosperous here. And someone said, nah, you're doing too good. Nah, we don't like this part of you. And people get upset, and sometimes I go back and forth like, Shannon, you don't live in your community. This is one of the reasons why. This is what happened to this young man should have never happened. When you when you become what he became, and you try to give back, because see, no matter how much you give, Skip, it's never gonna be enough for some.
Yep.
No matter how positive you are, some will try to dim your light and turn you into a negative. And it's not like this. When I played Skip, we weren't close to rappers. I mean, I would see Outkast walking, or I would see the Goody Mob walking something. But these guys have personal, intimate relationship with these guys. Drake has a relationship with Odell, with LeBron. Nipsey Hussle had a personal relationship. Snoop and all these guys. This intimate, this is personal to them. This is just not rest in peace or rest in power. This actually means something, and it hurts these guys. And you can see it in the NBA because everybody had rest RP Nip or you see Kawhi had it. It means something, and it's just so sad that in our community, someone so positive got taken away over some bull jive.
It was bull
At the
jive.
end of the day, I guarantee you, it's something that, and the reports say he knew the guy. He made several, went up to him and talked and left and came. I mean, it's for real.
There was some personal dispute between those two.
At some point in time, we're going to be able to sit down, have a conversation. I disagree with what you said. I don't like how you handle it. But we're going to be able to settle it, Skip, with words and not violence. And then we'll be able to reach the precipice, the crescendo of what we can be as a society.
Yep. And for those who don't know, Russ wore the Crenshaw T-shirt, which is a neighborhood, for those who don't get it, here in Los Angeles that Nipsey represented.
Correct.
Russ didn't exactly grow up in the Crenshaw district,
right.
but close enough.
Yeah.
Hawthorne, just below Inglewood, just around the edge of South Central. So he gets it. It's in his blood.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and that's his mentality. He's a fighter.
Yep.
Well, whatever you think of Russ, what he was doing last night was bigger than the game.
Absolutely.
And it was just nice to hear from him in that way after the game. All right, coming up next, is there trouble brewing between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks? We will discuss next.
No mercy.
Hey guys, Jenny Taft here with a quick word from Simply Safe. Here's something interesting. Studies show that security systems deter burglars. It's a fact, but there's still a burglary every 8 seconds in America. How? Well, think about it. Do burglars give up just because some houses have security systems? Of course not. They just find a house that isn't protected. That's why securing your home is truly a necessity. So let me recommend this brilliant security system built by my friends at Simply Safe. Simply Safe believes fear has no place in a place like home, so they made their system ridiculously smart. Simply Safe sensors will protect every point of access to your home: doors, windows, garage, you name it. If a burglar even tries to break in, an ear-shattering siren will let them know the police are already on the way. Best of all, Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring is just $14.99 a month. And they'll never lock you in a long-term contract. More than 3 million people already know it feels good to fear less with Simply Safe. So go with the only home security I trust, Simply Safe, by going to simplysafe.com/undisputed. Go today and get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's simplysafe.com/undisputed for the home security I trust. simplysafe.com/undisputed. Now, back to the show.
No mercy.
Is trouble brewing in Seattle? The Seattle Times is reporting Russell Wilson wants a new deal and set an April 15th deadline. That's the start of the team's voluntary offseason program. Wilson currently has 1 year left on the 4-year deal he signed back in 2015. In the first 3 years of that deal, he's thrown 90 touchdown passes. Pete Carroll said last week, quote, "We've been in communication. We're on it." So, Shannon, what is going on here?
What's going on? I wish I knew, Skip. I'm shocked by this.
Are you really?
I really am. Because when you look at Russ's numbers, no quarterback, and I mean none, has thrown for more touchdowns in the last 2 years with fewer interceptions. Let that sink in for a second. Russell Wilson, who's not known for a passer, who came in, Skip, he was a game manager.
Okay.
They played with their defense. They ran the football with beast modes, but they've transitioned away from that. This is not who they are now. Russell Wilson must play great in order for them to win. And to get this team into the playoffs with that, and this is no disrespect to any of their offensive skill players, but it's not like he has the most skilled offensive players around him. Doug Baldwin plays hard. He's a great route runner. But when we think of Doug Baldwin, we're not talking about, man, that's Julio, or that's Mike Evans, or that's D-Hop. We don't think of that.
I do think Tyler Lockett is extremely dangerous. Game breaker.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Would you take him over Tyreek Hill?
No, but now you've gone all the way to the top.
But
I might take him second to Tyreek in that style of receiving.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right. But when you look at what they have, I mean, so many other guys have so many more weapons offensively around him. I mean, he's 2017, he was 61% completion, almost 4,000 yards, 34-11. This year, 66% completion, almost 3,500 yards, 35-7. Skip, we don't normally see quarterbacks go into the last year of their contract in their prime. Russell Wilson's 30. Russell Wilson's not 36. Russell Wilson is 30 years of age. I think he'll turn 31 in November. So for me, this makes no sense to me, especially, Skip, they've moved on from Richard Sherman. Cam Chancellor retired. They traded Michael Bennett. Earl Thomas has left via free agency. Cliff Averill had to retire. I thought once you remove this, the Legion of Boom, quote unquote, had left, you were going to remake the team in Russell Wilson's image. Now, clearly, this is Russell's team. What are you waiting on? You franchise him next year, it's probably going to be, $30+ million? You franchise him the following year, it's probably, you got to give him 115% raise, so you're going to be looking at somewhere around 36, 37 million. And if again, that's over $100 million. Skip, he's in his prime. He's not slowing down. It's not like you surrounded him with this dearth of talent. He's doing unbelievable. And you remember in 2017, Skip, you and I used to come out here. What he's doing is not game plan related. They didn't call this play. They basically just go into the line, okay, Russell, do what you do. And he had to pirouette, break 4 tackles, run to the left, come back to the right, and throw it down to Lockett or Baldwin, and they make a play.
Okay.
So I am shocked that they're doing it like this. And why would you cause bad blood when you don't have to? Why would you play it this way, Seattle, when you don't have to? Most teams, if you had a quarterback, wouldn't you? I'm trying to think of the teams. Maybe only a handful of teams would not take Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. And if they had him, they damn sure wouldn't let him get to the, and given what he's accomplished, wouldn't let him get to the final year of that contract without extending him. So what they're doing and how they're doing it, I am very, very surprised that the Seattle Seahawks are doing it this way.
So your takeaway is you would right here, right now, open the vault for Russell Wilson, and you would give him more than Aaron Rodgers just got.
Well, Aaron,
right?
First of all, yes, I would.
Aaron got almost $100 million guaranteed.
Yes, he absolutely should, because you know why? He's younger, he's less injury prone, and this is not to say Aaron Rodgers doesn't deserve his money. But you look at, are you trying to tell me, given a choice, Minnesota could do it over again? You get a chance, you get Russell Wilson, or you take Kirk Cousins. Which one you want? Jacksonville, you want Nick Foles or you want Russell Wilson?
I don't know. That's a
I
tough
know.
one right there.
I know.
That's a
You
tough
would
one.
know.
say something different
I might
about
take
that.
the guy who comes up biggest in the postseason.
Yeah, the Rams say he didn't. The Phillies said he didn't come up big the first time he was
Really?
here. The Rams say he didn't come up big for us.
So last I saw Russell Wilson in the postseason was Jerry World. Do you remember that
I do.
Saturday
I
night?
remember it.
What happened? What was the score?
They lost.
It was something like 24-22 Dak.
Yeah.
I think Dak.
You haven't
and
forgotten.
Dak Prescott outplayed Russell Wilson. That's the last time I saw him in a playoff
Yep.
game.
Skip,
Dak outplayed.
Skip, don't do that.
QBR 74 for Dak, 70 for Russell Wilson, who had a pretty good game, but Dak just took the game over with
First
arm
3
and
years.
leg.
First 3 years.
Arm and
Check their
leg.
resume. First 3 years. Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson.
Okay. Dak set the all-time record for completion percentage in his first 3 years. Dak Prescott has led the entire NFL in game-winning drives over the last 3 years. So that's his first 3 years.
Russell
Russell
Wilson won a playoff game his first year. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl his third year, and he should have won the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl in his second year, and he should have won it in his third year. That's all Russell done. I don't know about.
Legion of Boom.
Now Legion of
and
Boom.
Beast Mode.
Now Legion of Boom.
Legion of Boom, Beast Mode.
Now it's Legion of Boom.
Did he have them on his side, or did he just do it all by himself?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Beast Mode or Zeke? Who you taking? Zeke or Beast Mode?
Boy, there were years.
I don't know about the years. I'm talking about.
Well, obviously, I would take right now. Well, obviously, I would take.
No, you're talking about right now.
Just like in the career, Beast Mode's had a hellacious run, man.
Okay.
Has he not?
He's had an unbelievable run, but see what you try to do?
Okay, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just spitting facts back at you. Last year, the Seattle Seahawks led the National Football League in rushing. As a team, they led it in rushing. They didn't have a Zeke. They didn't have a beast mode, but they had Chris Carson. They had Rashad Penny, and and Russell ran a little bit. Not like he used to, but he ran some.
Okay.
And they led the NFL in rushing. Did that not benefit Russell Wilson to have that to lean on? So you said they've reinvented how they're going at it. I don't really think they are.
But let me ask you a question. You make it seem like the Cowboys. Cowboys was top 5 in rushing. Where's Dak numbers comparable to Russell's? Because Russ threw for 35 touchdowns.
This is
and
just
7
about Russell Wilson getting more money than Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan.
Oh,
Right?
he should.
I just don't know that he's lived up. Like last year, he had 35-7. I give you that. Career best touchdowns, career low, tied for career low.
What about the year before?
Timeout. Last year, he ranked 11th in QBR. And if I start ranking quarterbacks, if I really put the pencil to it and I start going down the list, I've got Russell 7th or 8th. It's
Okay.
highly debatable because
Okay.
I like Deshaun so much, and now Deshaun's
Deshaun's
on
not
the
better
rise.
than Russell Wilson.
Okay, but listen, Deshaun is on his way to
Yeah.
being better than Russell Wilson. That's just me.
Wilson
That's just
Wilson
me.
already there. He had the location.
I don't know.
Waiting
I don't
on
know.
him.
Okay, so if I start ranking quarterbacks, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, I'm down to 6.
Why? Hold on. Why you putting Phillip Rivers over him?
I just think he's just a
Really?
little better.
With all that
A little
talent
better.
he got. Look at all the talent.
Okay,
Look at all
but
the
over
talent.
time, Phillip Rivers has been a little better than Russell Wilson, just as a thrower of the football. In the end, that's what you
All
have
we
to
can
do
go
in
by
this
is
league.
Russell Wilson came in 2011, so all we can rank it is from 2011 to now.
Better
Rank
right now, Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson?
Pat Mahomes might be the best quarterback in
Okay,
football.
thank you. Okay, now we're down.
But he's
to
on his
7.
rookie deal.
Okay, well, I don't care about that. I'm just doing it like right here, right now. Who are the best quarterbacks? And again,
Is he better than Matt Stafford? Matt
Yes.
Stafford got
Yes.
92 million guaranteed.
Okay, I
Is
don't
he
care
better than
about
Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck got 87 guaranteed.
a lot of people would say that he's not better than Luck, but you asked the wrong guy because I'd say definitely he's better than Andrew Luck. But I got him all the way down to 8 right now on my list. Okay, so is he worthy of the top spot? Because that's what he wants. And again, does he represent his franchise with class unlike anyone else? Yes.
Absolutely.
He is top drawer as far as role model, face of franchise. You can't get better than Russell. And
No.
that counts. That
Right.
counts in this figure that he is shooting for.
Sure.
Now, look, my bottom line takeaway to this is that we're wasting our breath because they will figure this out.
Right.
But I can see why there's a little bit of pushback from management because they're saying, well, we did lead the league in rushing, so they can't just break the bank for Russell Wilson. Is he the best quarterback in pro football?
No.
No. Is he top 10? Yes, he's top 10.
But-
so what does he deserve?
but
What
here's-
is he? And it's not what you've earned, it's what you will
Right.
do.
So,
right?
so if you believe Russell Wilson from the ages of 31, because you're going to probably give him somewhere around a 5 or 6 year deal. So you believe that
He'll be this. He won't have any drop off.
Exactly.
Because he takes care of himself and he's just a committed athlete.
and he knows how to, he doesn't take the big shot, Skip. Yeah, he runs, but he knows how to get down from his baseball career.
I know, but
so
he has gotten beat all to hell a couple of years. He's taken a he's been pretty beat up a couple times. They have restricted his running.
I love Matt Ryan, and I think he's a phenomenal talent. But it's hard for me to go to bat for Matt Ryan and says he should make more money than Russell Wilson, given what Russell
Matt
Wilson
Ryan got $100 million guaranteed,
Yes.
which is a little more than Aaron got.
Well, and here's the thing. And that's what. See, I don't really get caught up, Skip.
Remember 2 years ago, you were just beating that drum for Matt Ryan.
He should have been MVP,
Okay.
and he won.
Okay.
Skip.
How did you know that? Inside
They were the
information.
inside information.
Yeah.
He played well, but it's hard for me to believe that Russell Wilson shouldn't be a $100 million fully guaranteed quarterback. See, a lot of people get caught up in these numbers. Well, he got 6 years, $200 million, and when you look at the contract, Jenny, he got $25.14 guaranteed. I don't care nothing about the big numbers. I want to know how much fully guaranteed is the guy going to get.
Agreed. Okay.
So Russell Wilson deserves $100 million.
$105 million?
Million dollars. Yes.
You know those movies?
I do.
How do you know those
God,
movies?
I love Austin.
movie
I
buff
went to
over
Austin.
here.
I went to had a Halloween party once, and I went as Austin Powers. And groovy, baby.
Are we going to see
I
that
need
posted
to
on
see
No,
it.
iTunes?
I go for that. Maybe throwback. You know, I've been a
I
few.
need to see a
Really?
picture of this.
Yeah, I've been a few things. I was The Mask, and Jim Carrey had me a yellow hot banana suit.
So you're a Halloween guy.
You know, I used to be.
expecting
I used to be. When I was in Baltimore, I had a Halloween party.
How
for
could
charity.
you look like Austin Powers?
Yo, baby.
How did you do it?
I had a crushed velvet all suit, had me some boots,
Yep.
had me some teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, had me
Really?
a wig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They call me. Yeah.
I'm
You-
sure.
That was groovy, baby.
You did a lot of
say it like
shagging in
that.
your day.
Now, see, there you go.
stop.
See, there you go. Why you trying
It's too easy. It's too easy.
No, I wasn't like that, Skip. That's really not like me. Jenny,
No. What do you mean? I don't know.
You're supposed to say yes, Shannon. I can understand. You're a very nice guy.
I don't know. I don't know about
Yeah,
this
what
version of Shannon.
You know what?
You've thrown me under the bus
Powers?
plenty
Yeah.
around here, Shannon.
You would need the greatest Hollywood makeup artist.
I
in
was,
history.
I was okay. Well, maybe I
need
wasn't from Brit.
CG.
Maybe I was from Nigeria.
Okay.
Please bring a photo soon.
No mercy.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
We shall.
Okay, next up, LeBron's season is officially over, and now he might not make an All-NBA team. LeBron has made one of the three teams 14 years in a row, but The Ringer asked the question if he should be left off those teams this year. They write that it would be, quote, historically rare to be All-NBA after playing just 55 games and missing the playoffs. Giannis, KD, and Paul George are pretty much guaranteed to take 3 of the 6 forward spots. On the positive side, LeBron did average about 27 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists this season. So, Shannon, should LeBron make an All-NBA team?
Yeah, he should. I mean, he should be second team All NBA. Second team.
Over who?
Even of all the guys, you got Paul George, you got KD, you got Giannis, you got Kawhi, whomever, Blake Griffin, name them all. Name the guy on that list that I just mentioned that averaged 27, 8, and 8.
Well, those aren't the only stats.
Oh,
Those can be misleading.
Yeah, they're misleading. They're misleading. Everybody got misleading stats. LeBron, the only one that got misleading stats. But that's all I know he did. That's all I know.
Okay.
Skip, look. Kawhi, you say, oh, Kawhi, it might be Kawhi. Kawhi takes off when he wants to.
Oh, now you're saying that.
I'm-
After I said it all year, you said, that doesn't matter.
I think it's official.
Hold on.
So now we speak out of other side of
No,
mouth.
but let me ask you a question. When Kawhi takes off, what's Toronto's record? Do they miss a beat? They do not.
15-5.
Hold on. How does the best player, an All-NBA player, gets to take off that amount of time and his team is 15-5? I get it. If you want KD, Paul George, Giannis is unanimous. If you want KD, Paul George, okay, go back and forth. Okay, I got no problem with that either. But when you start getting to the second team and you say, well, Blake Griffin, really? You gonna say Kawhi, really? Oh, you Chris Middleton, man, they need to stop with all this. Look,
No Chris Middleton. No.
whomever you think, Skip, is that what has happened is that LeBron James is held to such a high standard.
Well, why shouldn't he be? He's LeBron James.
But he ain't the best player. You told me there's so
No,
many.
you keep telling me he is the
He
best player.
is.
So then we got to put the bar way up here.
Was when somebody jump over that bar, tell me. When somebody average 27, 8, and 8.
I ask again, which side of mouth are you speaking
What
out
you
of?
talking about?
Let's grade him by the highest curve.
He's
right?
still the baddest man on the planet.
Okay, then fine.
And he
Let's-
should be all
let's
NBA.
Grade him that way.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying, Skip, he should not be first team. He should not be first team with the amount of games that he missed missed and the way his team played, he shouldn't be first team.
And that would be Kevin Durant and Giannis.
Okay.
Okay.
Or you could say Paul George. Can you make it seem like Paul George is a slouch, even though he's slumped off, say, the last 11 games?
I was pushing him for MVP for like a month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So,
right.
okay, it looked like it's going to be KD and Giannis.
Okay. Paul George is going to be on the second team.
With
and
LeBron.
I'm pretty sure that number 2 in Toronto will make the second team.
How?
I'm just pretty sure. He's career high 27-7, and they are 53-23. I don't like the games he's missed.
They're not better than they were last year, because last year they were 59, they were the number 1 seed. At best case scenario, they're the number 2 seed with DeRozan.
Number 2 is still considered one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. LeBron James' defense is now an afterthought.
Yeah.
So that's going to put number 2 over the top onto the number 2 team.
Think about this, Skip. You just said he had a career high in points and a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
And he still ain't having a better year than LeBron, and LeBron had an average yeir.
Well, by 1 point.
I don't know how many points. I can't count that high. Once we got past timetables in 3rd grade, I was done with math, Jenny. All I know is this.
Okay.
With a career year, he still can't touch 3.
All right. So I want to remind you, this is not about reputation. It is about production here and now this year. It's not about last year. It's not about the year before. It's not about getting to the finals 8 straight years in the Eastern Conference.
No.
This is what have you done for me lately, as in this year.
Okay.
So LeBron James, in the games he started for the Lakers, the games he played in for the Lakers, the team finished 28-27.
Okay.
So that's a key number to remember here, because production, as far as impacting scoreboard, was very low given how high the bar is set for LeBron James, right?
Right.
So we had career worst free throw percentage. We talked that to death, but we know that happened. And we had his career worst defensive win shares and second worst offensive win shares. So again, on impact, overall, his PER was the 3rd worst of his career. So in impact on the scoreboard, LeBron had an off year for whatever. He was groin, whatever. I don't know what happened. I only know these are the facts.
Okay.
This is what you bring to the table when you evaluate, does he belong on the second team? No, he does not belong on the second team. Now let's talk about the third team. There's one man for sure that belongs on the third team, and that is LaMarcus Aldridge of the San Antonio Spurs. He has been a war horse for them all year. He has carried them, and he is a rim protector.
But Skip, he's mainly a 5. We play him at the 5.
Okay, so?
Yeah, okay, put him at 5. He ain't going to take one of the forward spots.
Okay, but you have to put him in at forward.
Okay, yeah.
He's not considered a center. I get you that he plays that role.
That's what
But he will be evaluated as a forward, and he will be on the third team. Because if I just do estimated wins added, which is a big 3rd level stat in the NBA, LaMarcus is 13th to LeBron's 17th ranking in the league. So he had 4 spots better, and the Spurs are 45-33, and they are in the playoffs, and obviously the Lakers are not in the playoffs. So that's big advantage, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Okay, big advantage.
Okay, all right. So that leaves 1 spot left. And I'm going to throw this out because this is a team that is now 47-31 and a shock to everybody's system in the NBA, and that is Doc Rivers' Clippers. I told you before the year, I think the Clippers are going to be better than the Lakers. That I can't. The injuries happened, so it might have skewed everything, and maybe it should disqualify that whole premise. But the point was, this is a shocking success story. They're 47-31, the Clippers. Who is their best player? Gallinari is their best player, who's having a career year because he's 20-6. It's not LeBron numbers, but he is shooting 43% from the three-point line as a big guy. What is he, 6'11" probably?
Yeah. Lou Williams might be their best player, though.
Well, you can make a case, but as far as a starter, okay. It's this guy.
Yeah.
As a stalwart, it's this guy. Gallinari is shooting 91% from the free throw line. That's extraordinary because it goes Brogdon and Steph and Dame, those 3, and then he's 4th at 91% at 6'10" or 6'11", whatever. That's extraordinary. So on just when you add in the true shooting percentage there, he ranks right there. He's just behind James Harden in overall shooting evaluation.
Right.
Second level stats. Okay. Well, does that merit third team All NBA?
Yeah,
maybe?
we'll give you an honorable mention, but you're not getting on third team with no 20-6. But anyway, okay, let's just say this. Okay, let's KD. You say KD's gonna be on the first team All NBA.
Will be.
He's playing with Steph and Clay. Is that a plus or a minus?
Who's the best player on the team?
I'm just asking
Who
you.
is the best player?
I'm just asking you a question.
I ask a question to you. Who is the back-to-back Finals MVP for the Golden State Warriors?
I don't know about the back-to-back.
Yes, thank you.
Hold on. This is what we know about Finals. The Finals MVP is based on 4, 5, 6, or 7 games. Regular season MVP is based on 82 games.
Okay.
Steph Curry has been back-to-back regular season MVP, and he won one of those awards by more votes than anybody else, which means he was unanimous. Not Michael, not LeBron, not KD, not Larry or Magic or Kareem have ever won the award unanimous.
Who's the closer for Golden State? It's not Steph Curry. It's Kevin
Skip, I'm just trying to ask you.
Durant.
Can I ask you a question? I just want to ask you a question.
I'm answering.
Okay, Stephen Clay. Paul George, he has Russ.
Okay.
Is that a plus or a minus?
It's a plus, but he changed life in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And by the way, he said, I want no part of
LaMarcus Aldridge, he has DeMar DeRozan. Is that a plus or a minus?
That's a lot of nights it's a minus. Don't get me started.
But you say he closes. Yeah. You love the way he closes. He can close better number 2. That's what you said.
Yeah, but now Derek White is assuming that role.
Okay. And you said Blake Griffin. You mentioned Blake?
I haven't mentioned him yet, but he's in the conversation because his team is also in the playoffs, albeit in the East.
Okay, and he has Andre Drummond. Okay, LeBron. Now, of the guys that I named that could possibly be all NBA, name the guy that LeBron plays with that's comparable to anyone that I named with those other guys.
Well, there were stretches, Ingram, Kuzma, Lonzo. There were stretches where I said, those kids are really good.
Hold on. So I want you to tell me the stretch, and I'm not talking about Armstrong. When Ingram, Kuzma, JaVale, Lonzo, Hondo, or anybody else was better than Stephen Clay, was better than Russ, was better than DeRozan, or was better than Andre Drummond, who's 17 and 15. I just need to know which one.
Okay, I just need to know which player does Shannon Sharpe dig in and still say is the best player on the planet, like by far? By far.
No.
That guy.
Hold on. He's the best player.
28 and 27 this year.
Hold on.
28 and 27.
Hold on.
I don't know.
Skip. He's the best player. But it's like Usain Bolt, where he was blowing people away in the first in Rio in the first Olympics, and then they started getting closer and closer, and then the championships, he got beat by Justin Gatlin.
He did.
So the gap is not what it used to be. They closed. They gave. KD. KD coming. Because that's all we worried about. KD. James Harden too. They gave. Ron used to run it. He ain't never looked back.
Shannon.
Never look back.
He's looking back.
AD arrived 2 years ago.
No, he didn't arrive.
And you're still living in the past.
I ain't living in nothing. I'm living right down the future. I told you, Skip. Now, in the middle of October, that's when basketball season's gonna kick off. In the middle of October 2019.
Okay.
People gonna be in a heap of trouble.
Okay.
Because he hears all. He knows all. So I just want you to know, I ain't feeding him this. I'm not telling him what, I don't tell him, I don't want you to know. I just want you to know, I don't share this information when he and I communicate.
I hope that in the middle of October, next October, that LeBron James is the third wheel on his team. Because if that's the case, you are good to go. You are back in business because you will have KD and Kyrie and LeBron James in his 17th season. That will work.
Okay, Skip, look. See, I think
they will be the favorite to win it all.
Let me look at it. All things are not created equal. Jenny, let's just say we all going for a ride.
Okay.
We going downtown. We going down to the Staples Center.
Okay.
We all hop in the car. Okay.
You going to take the 10 or Olympic, or what are you?
No, we just going.
Oh, we're just going.
We just going. Right. Here's the thing. See, what you trying to do, you like, well, LeBron going along for the ride. That's really not a ride if me, you, Jenny in the passenger seat, and then I got somebody in the trunk. That's not the same type of ride.
You're right.
See, what
you got somebody in the trunk?
No, but what you try, that's what you're trying to do to LeBron.
Oh.
You trying to make him out to be the little donut tie. That's what you trying to do.
The third wheel.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, the little donut.
He's on there. He's the third wheel.
No.
He's not in the trunk. He's mounted on the third wheel.
You know what, Skip Bayless? You're right. He ain't the third wheel. He the engine. Where you going without that? You see all these police chase, they blow out the tires and they still going. You don't need tires to go anywhere, but you need an engine.
Yeah.
So he gonna be the engine.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like sometimes I'm the third wheel around you guys. But here's the thing, Shannon. You mentioned Halloween a couple years ago. So a few of my friends did a little research, and before we go, we got to take a picture at our friend Shannon. Look at that.
Who is
Austin
that?
Powers.
That's Austin Powers?
2000.
Hey, Skip, those are not my
Halloween.
those are not my real teeth. I just want you to know people like, well, those look like the same teeth he got right now.
Are you sure about that? Could you maybe bring this back for the show? Because
Wait.
you look great.
If I were at that party, I would have to ask, who are you?
Yeah, I'm the Nigerian Austin Powers.
I really think you look great. It's a good look. The
My name's
hair.
Anthony. Okay, I'm Anthony Powers.
Anthony
Yeah.
Powers. that
Anthony
works.
Powers.
I like that.
Okay, well, whoever found this photo, thank you. Because for all the time Shannon has told everyone too much about me, now we can share those pictures.
Girl, I couldn't
That was
tell.
Batman.
Batman,
And I was undercover brother one year too.
Were you?
Yeah,
That works.
I got
I
a
like
big
it.
afro. I got a
I like
jean
that
suit.
That's a great idea.
I got some
Works.
stacks and everything.
Okay,
you
I'm
know
gonna
anything
need-
about stacks?
Yeah, I mean, I know
That
what you're
platform
talking about.
shoe. Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it.
Oh,
I don't know
boy,
if
you
you
boy, I
need
was
that.
stepping.
Okay, we need pictures. Keep them coming. Coming up next, can Trae Young make a late push for the Rookie of the Year award? We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
The race for Rookie of the Year is coming down to Luka Doncic and Trae Young, and for now, Luka is favored to win it. He's averaging about 21 points a game and leads the Mavs in points, assists, rebounds, and steals, while Trae is averaging nearly 19 points a game, but he's been on fire lately, averaging nearly 26 a game since the All-Star break. So, Shannon, how close is this race?
6 weeks ago, it was a runaway.
You're right.
Doncic was unbelievable, Skip, the triple-doubles, the step-back threes. He had mastered that, and people were talking about him making the All-Star. And until the final ballot came out, he was leading. He was behind LeBron as far as votes in the All-Star game. And over the last, say, 6 weeks, Trae has made it a race. But I think he had given up so much ground to Luka in the beginning. I don't know if he can do enough, Skip, to overcome the damage that Luka had already done. Trae Young, the most 30-10 games in the last 35 years. So even if you throw Jordan, you throw LeBron, Steph Curry, all these other great players, Trae Young has more 30-10 games than all of those guys. So with that being said, Skip, and he's been great lately, but I think Luka has done more earlier. And he has these moments, Skip. You know what I'm saying? All the highlights, you step back. Game winners. That's Luka. And it's hard to undo those impressions that you've already seen, even though, as Jenny mentioned in the read, Trae Young is averaging 26 points a game post All-Star. But he had just given up too much ground too early to Luka. I believe Luka will win it. But what was probably going to be unanimous, I think it'll be a little closer than what it was going to be.
So I'm going to go big picture here. I am not saying Luka is setting the NBA world on fire. I'm not sure he's going to be a dominating NBA player. He's going to be a very good one. But to me, clearly, he is the better player, better than Trae, and he's had the better season than Trae. And in the end, I believe Atlanta long-term will regret that they didn't just sit right there at number 3 and take Luka Doncic for the long haul.
But they get Dallas picked this year.
Okay, they got that. And I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It's lottery protected, but still. Okay? But the point is, in the big picture, I stand by what I told you. And you've taken shots at me here lately saying, oh, maybe you're wrong about that. Nope, I'm not wrong about Trae Young. He is what he is not. He will never be a dominant NBA player because he's just too little. He's not explosively athletic. He's not Allen Iverson.
No.
He's too ground-bound.
Yeah.
And he is a gifted passer. I said this coming out of Oklahoma because I watched every game at Oklahoma that he played. Gifted passer. And I don't just toss that out lightly.
He has a game in which he had 17 assists this year.
He is that. But what drives me a little crazy watching him is everything has to be spectacular. Everything has to be fancy. Everything has to have whipped cream on it because he has to live up to a reputation. And he's now trying to sell a franchise to a city that hasn't loved that Atlanta Hawks, as you well know.
No.
Okay, so right now a lot of people are going to see him throw the whipped cream pass, right?
Yep.
And he does. He's the flip side of Ja Morant, who does it all conventionally, conservatively, and by the textbook.
Yep.
But this kid, when he starts making those cross-country threes, they're set shots. They're feet on the floor. But he will set shot it from 35 feet.
He will.
And when it goes in, it is wow factor.
Yeah.
But he's a 33% three-point shooter, and that's basically what I think he will always be. And the problem with his game is you can take him out of his game pretty easily.
Big small guy.
I have now watched Derek White, and I'm a big Derek White fan. Trust me, you talk about LeBron being an engine. Derek White is now the engine of the San Antonio Spurs. They go as he goes. And in the 2 games I've closely watched him play head-to-head with Trey, the whole time they're guarding each other, Derek White has just had Trey's number because he's too big for him. He's 6'4" versus, I don't know, they list Trey at 6'2". I don't think he's 6'2",
Nah,
6'1"-ish maybe.
Yeah, maybe 6.5.
Okay, and maybe 180-ish, 175-ish. And the problem is, Trey is a liability on defense. Derek White can just do whatever he wants on offense. So last night in the fourth quarter of a big game for San Antonio, because they're vying for 7-8. And it was tight, and they got down in the fourth quarter, and Derek White said, I got this. And he scores 11 to only 2 for Trey in the fourth quarter, and just took him out of the game. And do you realize Trey against Derek White in 2 games is now 1 for 13 from 3? Why is that? Because Derek White just plays him for the 3.
You got to get up into it.
He just gets way up into him and says, you can't do this.
Right.
You can try to throw it over me and hope it goes in, but you're not going to get a clean
But Trey
set
got that
shot.
swag. You know, Trey
got it.
Trey hit them jump a little bit, stand over there like, yeah, you like that, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to give Trey this also. I think he's a little more clutch than even Doncic is, because occasionally he'll hit. He had a putback the other night to win the game. Not a big deal, but like little big deals, okay? And he has taught himself one shot. That's why he's scoring those points. He now has something he really didn't have at Oklahoma, and that's when he does escape and dribble through a double team, he'll get in the lane and shoot the little Tony Parker floater, the little runner from like 8 feet, and he's gotten pretty good at it because he needs it.
Yes.
Because he can't Iverson to the rim.
No.
He can't go hang. He's not a leaper.
No, he's not Russell.
Okay?
He's not that explosive to
It's
get
hard.
to the rim.
That's right. He's not even close to Russell. Is a force, man. And Russell can go up and hang with the trees, right? Get up with the trees. And
you're right, Skip. He needs that floater for the simple fact he is so small. James Harden, 6'6", shooting a floater. You know, Tony Parker made a living off the floater because he pick and roll with Tim Duncan, and next thing you know, if you didn't sink back, he was floating the ball over your head. But I just think that Doncic put so much separation between he and Trae Young early on, and he had these highlight moments. He had the 30-point triple-doubles. He had the step back when they beat the Rockets, and he was shooting the ball over James Harden. Voters, people remember that. And I just think he's had more magical moments in his rookie season than Trae Young. And look, there's no slouch. Larry Bird won Rookie of the Year over Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson just led his team. Magic got 3 votes. Bird got 33 votes for Rookie of the Year. So it's not the end of the world. Hakeem Olajuwon turned out okay, even though Jordan was Rookie of the Year.
No, you're right.
It's okay.
I'll buy that. I buy that. What I won't buy is, remember, the new GM of Atlanta was the assistant GM for years in Golden State. And he, I assume, thought Trae Young was Steph.
No.
He's just not Steph.
No.
And
Steph is Steph.
Okay.
Hell, we didn't even know Steph. We thought he could shoot the ball. We saw him at Davidson. But nobody thought this kid was going to be able to come. He changed the game.
He's got a handle.
Yes, but he changed. Skip, he got everybody. Kids don't want to dunk anymore. Dunk. Who want to do that? Now they want to come in the gym and shoot the ball from the entrance.
But remember, Steph can jump shoot the ball. And so you can't bother his shot like you can bother Trae Young's shot.
But and plus Steph is 6'2", 6'3". This kid is maybe 6 foot tall. That's a whole different ball game.
So what did I just see in the NCAAs? Because it's the first time I really got to lock in and watch him. Did you check out Carson Edwards of Purdue? That's a shooter. And the more I watched him, I said, he's a better shooter than Trae Young is.
He's a jump shooter.
He is a jump shooter. Look at some of these shots,
he elevated,
man. He is getting up, and it is going down. He can shoot 2-point jump shots.
Even Steph's not jumping like that. Clay, they're not jumping like that. That's a jump shot.
Jump shot. And it's true and pure.
But he's small, Skip.
How big is he?
6'1". I mean, he's listed at 6'1". Is he 6 feet?
I think 6.
Okay, am I saying he's going to take over the NBA? I don't. But if I want a guy who's a designated shooter, you know, like even a Patty Mills kind of shooter, yes, he can do that. But to me, to my eye, I'm saying, I watched Trae Young that year at Oklahoma. This is a better shooter.
The dude had two 40-plus point games in the tournament.
He did.
That's saying something.
He had 42 against the defending champ Villanova, and then he had 42 against a lockdown defensive team in Virginia.
They should have beat Tennessee, too.
Yeah, okay.
But that's okay. Look, Trey, it's okay if you don't win Rookie of the Year. Just come on back. I mean, everybody can't be Bron.
No.
Win Rookie of the Year, MVPs and final MVPs and all that stuff. Like Jordan did that, too.
Yeah.
I mean, his rookie year.
You know, LeBron had his day.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
In the past,
He
we're
had
moving
his
on.
day.
Oh, so you saying it's over? Oh, you saying it's over? I want to hear you say it.
I need
Have
to-
the courage of your conviction. Say it's over.
I want to see how much help he gets. He needs help.
Don't worry about no help.
Yeah.
We good.
You good?
2 weeks. Do you know what we can do? Think about this, Skip. LeBron James is going to have more time off than since he was what? Maybe a high school senior?
It's hard to think of the last time.
Because when the last time he had time
Truly.
off? Because LeBron normally plays in June. That's what he know. I mean, now he gets an extra 10 weeks to just go to Wakanda with his trainers.
He'll be
He may
working.
need it. He may need that vibration.
All I'm saying is somebody's in a heap of trouble.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Somebody.
If you play in the NBA, I'm talking to you.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're in the NBA, you're the somebodies that's in the heap of trouble.
No, I'm not in trouble because I just talk about the NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good point. All right, we're moving to Aaron Rodgers because it might be that he is avoiding his new coach. We'll discuss and tell you the latest with Greg Jennings next.
No mercy.
So Matt LaFleur was hired as the new Packers head coach back in early January, but there's a wrinkle. He hasn't had a face-to-face meeting with Aaron Rodgers since coming to Green Bay. LaFleur told Adam Schefter he has talked to Rodgers a few times on the phone, but it wasn't about X's and O's. LaFleur added, quote, "I know how important our relationship is going to be. I can't wait to really sit down and dive into the football component." We're joined by Fox NFL analyst and former Packer Greg Jennings. Good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
So, are you surprised there hasn't been a face-to-face meeting?
You know, I am surprised that there still hasn't been a face-to-face meeting. Understanding that it is the offseason and players take the offseason to get away from football and get away from what they're going to be entrenched in for the long haul. Totally understand that. But in this situation, it's
Different.
It's just different because when I look at Aaron Rodgers, when you say Aaron Rodgers and you say the Green Bay Packers, the success lies in his hands. They win if he's on the field, and if he's healthy. They lose if he's not on the field and if he's not healthy. And so when you bring in a new coach and the exit of your former coach was due to a lot of conflict or clash, if I will, between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. Now, mind you, they weren't winning, but that relationship had faltered. It was always
Might have been a reason why they weren't winning.
Exactly. It was always something there that just wasn't right. And so when I look at that, if I'm the fan base, if I'm just a fan of sport, I understand that Matt LaFleur understands it. He said it. I know how important this relationship is. Well, the relationship hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Because you don't really start a relationship. You can talk to someone, but when you meet them, what's the first thing? Man, it's great to finally meet face to face. Put a name to a face.
Boys, yeah.
Like that's when the relationship truly starts and you can truly start to build something because now I see your mannerisms, I see your body language, I see how you either are you receptive to what I'm saying or are you just kind of deflecting? And so right now there's none of that taking place. And I don't like it because, again, if this team is going to be successful, it is not going to be Matt LaFleur. It is going to be Aaron Rodgers and how he embraces Matt LaFleur and how he takes this team moving forward on his shoulders and carries them to some wins.
How quickly were you able to connect with Aaron as a rookie?
Right away.
In off-season?
Off-season, I remember being in the team dining and going over to get a drink and Aaron coming up to me and saying, "This is going to be us. This is going to be our squad in a couple years." It put a smile on my face because I knew what he was alluding to. We never spoke of it.
Right.
But
Okay.
it was like, that's the type of guy that I want to play with.
Right.
And we had a ton of success together.
You did.
I agree with what you're saying. I think this is unacceptable. I think Aaron should have just flown, even if it's just for the day, for the introductory press conference. Just come in to show his face, because he has to get past this moniker or this stigma of him being aloof. And this is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure Matt LaFleur, but it seems to me, I follow Aaron a little bit, and he's over here, and he's in Paris, and he's doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But I just think it's very interesting. Something that you really wanted, he'll never say this publicly, you wanted to change at the helm at the head coach. Okay, they acquiesced. Mm-hmm. Not only did they get rid of him before, they got rid of him before the season to give them a fresh look, to say they want to get an early start, a head start. Well, considering you couldn't talk to anybody that was coaching
right.
at the time anyway, I don't get why they did that. Mm-hmm. But Skip, for me, Aaron should have just, you know what, I'm going to fly in for the introductory press conference. I'm going to shake his hand, do a great look, just to make it look. Because this looks like, I ain't interested. I'll be back when I absolutely have to be. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. I don't know, you never had to do it. But let me tell you something about old long-distance relationships, Skip Bayless. Boy, hey, you got to put a lot of time in. And long-distance relationship will work if you've been in the relationship before.
Yes.
And then the other party understands that I got to go away for a while, but this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. But to start off with a long-distance relationship, and then we go 1, 2, 3 months without seeing each other, oh, that thing doomed. It's doomed. I'm just saying. Not that I know anything about long-distance relationships.
I'm sure you have no idea.
A little bit.
I am astounded by this. But it cements the fact that what I said from day one is the truth. That basically this young man, and he's only 39 years of age, was basically hired to be the assistant head coach of the Green Bay Packers. That Aaron will have final say.
He'll be in charge.
And it may have been that way the last 2 years with Mike McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And I am intrigued that there's a new ESPN interview that Mike did. I think it's going to air soon today, but we got to hear some tidbits of it. Mm-hmm. And Mike McCarthy said that the Packers couldn't have handled his firing any worse. Any worse. So that got ugly, but it seemed like it was lovey-dovey because he got to go back the next day after he was fired, talk to the team.
To coaches.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about that. Maybe there's a whole nother side to this story. So Matt LaFleur, again, everybody says he's good people and he can talk ball with the best of them, and I get all that. I'm sure he's a good guy and a pleasure to be around. But what has he done? What has he proven? For 1 year, he was the offensive coordinator under Sean McVay here with the Rams. Well, that's not offensive coordinator. You're just like kind of the
You got the job entitled.
Okay.
Sean McVay's calling the plays.
He's doing everything.
Yeah.
The game plan, it's all him. Then you leave, and for 1 year, which was last year, you're the Titans offensive coordinator, and they finished 27th in points scored.
Oh, that's on his resume?
Yeah, that's on his resume.
Oh, I'm no see for the Titans.
Okay, that's it. Period, end of story. You haven't been a head coach, and you haven't really done much as a coordinator. You've mostly worked your way up from the bottom very quickly, I might add, because you're good people. And now you've got a premier NFL head coaching job for an original NFL cornerstone franchise in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you know it well. And this is an honor, man. Mm-hmm. This is Vince Lombardi.
But but he might have the toughest job. Forget the cornerstone franchise. Skip, you might be coaching the toughest
I agree.
QB in all of football because we know he's kind of mercurial. He has his ways.
There's no might to that.
Okay.
He is the toughest, in my opinion, and in probably most opinion, the toughest quarterback to coach because he knows so much and he's so skillful.
Yeah, he's so
that
gifted.
There's not a whole lot that you can bring to the table that is new.
Right.
So that's the problem. It's what you're talking about, and you can continue, is the problem. What can you offer me?
What are you going to tell him? Hey, you need to step and throw. You need to, step and throw in this through right. Just come back. You need to pivot a little bit more, Aaron.
The reason why it bothers me is because when you lose players like a Randall Cobb and a Jordy Nelson and Clay Matthews and all these players, and you hear Aaron Rodgers say things like, I wasn't made aware or I should have been in on those conversations. Now you have an opportunity where you can be in on the conversation from the get-go.
Okay.
With your head coach. You can set a precedent with him, letting him know, like, look, this is you and I. This is going to work. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. I just want to stay in the loop. I want you to be honest with me up front. Keep me abreast of what's taking place and what you're thinking moving forward. He has an opportunity here, and it's like he's just playing it the way he wants to play it because he has the power, he has the control, and as you alluded to, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is going to call the shots.
You work for me. I'll come meet you when it's convenient for me.
Skip, you remember how outspoken he was when they fired his quarterback coach, Alex Van Pelt? Do you remember how upset he was when they let Jordy Nelson go? He didn't say a word about Mike McCarthy. He said, you know,
Oh, he didn't? He didn't say nothing? Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I thought I mean, hold on. The quarterback coach, you spit flames. The man that basically said, you know what, we ready to move on. We're going to move on from you, Brett. We're going to get this thing to Aaron, win a Super Bowl, couple of MVPs. He can't even get a thank you. He can't get, hey, thanks for all the memories, Coach McCarthy. I'm sorry it ended this way. But this, Skip, he comes across as mercurial. He comes across as aloof. You got a new head coach, and the man talk about, oh, yeah, we talked on the phone. What good is talking on the phone?
Yeah.
You might be getting catfish. That might not even be him you talking to. What, I mean,
You don't even know.
yeah, I mean, come on. Skip, look, I'm not going to put it all on Aaron. I'm not going to put it. But at some point, at this point in time, these two should have met face to face. I don't care, Aaron, if you going to your parents, or I don't care. You at the racetrack, well, she's not driving anymore. So I don't care if you're fishing. I don't care what's going on. You could have taken at least a day.
Thank you.
To come meet the man and say, man, it's going to be a pleasure working with you. Look, clean slate. Whatever you heard about me is true. I am tough to deal with. But I tell you what, I'm a gifted son of a gun. I'm the baddest quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Contrary to what that guy on Skip and Shannon say, the one that sits across from Shannon Sharpe, he said there's another guy better than me. It ain't true. And I'm going to show you.
It's only what I have said. For like the last 7 years, I have said arrogant, aloof, difficult, hard on receivers, hard on teammates.
Hard
gifted.
on coaches.
I give you gifted. Gifted. But I wish I could be a fly on this wall in this meeting room. The first time that Matt LaFleur brings up Aaron Rodgers last year shattered the NFL record for throwaways, in which he took one look and said, it could be an interception. I'll just throw it.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, seriously, that's what he did because that's high IQ. He's the LeBron James of the National Football League because you're thinking, okay, I need this statistically. I don't want to throw interceptions. That looks bad on your resume. So the first time Matt LaFleur says, Aaron, they're looking at tape, you should have tried that throw. You got a big arm. You could have forced that throw through that crack. You could have gotten that ball.
How's that going to go? Yeah.
We don't force things here.
Okay. Well, how will that go?
I love how you try to put up LeBron. Oh, LeBron knows his stat. You didn't say, what about KD? When KD said, I knew I hadn't missed any shots, or I knew I had done this.
Yeah.
That's why KD is even better than LeBron now.
One thing I'm not going to do is tell Aaron Rodgers how to play quarterback.
Nah.
I'm not going to do that.
Things. I just wasn't as surprised, but you guys have convinced me how bad this is, considering how many months it has been.
Yes.
There should have been some kind of an effort. Sometimes you do those meetings just because you have to.
Right.
Just to start off on the right foot.
Just come in the middle of the night. Just
something. Wow.
Aaron Rodgers flies private jet, so he'll never be inconvenienced with the delays or anything like that. You just fly in for the day.
Complete control.
Man, great to meet you. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Let's get this thing. We're the Packers. We're supposed to be in the playoffs. We're supposed to contend for titles. And thanks for coming and believing in me.
And there's no more discussion about this.
Wheels
there
up.
You go.
Do that for 5 minutes. Back up I go.
Sounds easy.
That's what I would do, Skip, if I had that kind of
when you're Aaron. Okay, Greg, always good to have you with us. Thanks for being here. Are Coach K and Duke done with the one and dones? We'll explain next.
No mercy.
So Duke will not be in the Final Four, and now they're expected to lose 4 starters who are all freshmen, including the projected top pick Zion Williamson. Stadium's Jeff Goodman reported that Duke may change their recruiting strategy to focus on fewer one-and-dones. Goodman said, quote, "I don't know if that's because K recognized that he wasn't going to be able to do it again, or he realized that, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of coaching these one-and-dones. Let's sprinkle in some other guys that are going to be 2, 3, maybe 4-year guys." So, Shannon, what do you make of all this?
Well, I make of this that this last recruiting class put a big dent into the athletic budget. So, I was about to Skip. I didn't mean to say that. I was Skip, Coach Katie, you know good and well that's not going to happen. Because what do, Skip? No matter what college if you're in college sports, you try to go out and recruit what? The best high school players or swimmers or whatever it is, Skip. You try to get the best high schooler to come to your university. This is the process. This is the product of doing business this way, Skip, because I'm trying to get from A to C. Now, B is the process I got to go to college, which means I'm going to do that for a year. Now, if I could skip B and go straight to A to C, I would do that, Coach K, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. Coach K didn't have a problem. You remember, Skip, in 2015, he had Justice Winslow, Jalea Okafor, and Tyus Jones. They were freshmen, sprinkled in with a couple of juniors. They won the national championship. Now, because, they didn't win it this year, when this was supposed to be, you had Zion Williamson, the greatest college basketball player since one Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And R.J. Barrett, who was going in, was the number 1 player in college, was going to be the number 1 overall pick. And they got Cam Reddish. So they got 1, 2, 3, the best. Nobody had ever done that before in the history of the game. Got the top 3 high schoolers to come to one school. How they did that, everybody always tell me, I wonder why he went to that school, that education. I wonder how many of those one-and-dones are really close to getting that degree from Duke. But we'll talk about that, Skip, another time. You and I know what this is about. Coach K is upset because this team underachieved. When you got that kind of talent, you got to get to the Final Four, and you're supposed to win it, but you didn't. And so now you're going to change the way you do business? Well, you were out of this business anyway until Coach Calipari.
Yep.
He was the one that was doing it all the time. Sure. Had no problem with it. I don't believe Duke will have a problem with it either, Skip. What do you think the revenue that these guys generate? I know Duke has a football team, but it ain't Duke basketball.
No, it's not the same.
They probably got a lot of other intercollegiate sports.
Yep.
It ain't the basketball team. And what Zion Williamson brought this year, Skip, guess what? If there's another Zion Williamson out there and he wants to go to Duke, guess who's going to be sitting on his mom or his grandma's couch in about 5 days? One Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah, that's correct. So what I'm about to say is no shot at Jeff Goodman, who is very good at what he does.
Okay.
But this came straight from the horse's mouth. This came from inside the Duke program. It came from Coach K. And it represents to me nothing but damage control. This is spin control because a disaster just happened for Duke basketball. What happened was that Duke stepped onto the floor against Michigan State with 3 of the top 5 players who will be picked in the next NBA draft. Michigan State stepped on the floor with no players who will be drafted unless somehow Cassius Winston ekes into the
late first round.
No, I'd say second.
Oh, you say you'll go second round?
Because most of the mocks don't even have him in the second round. And it's highly possible he will come back for his senior year under Coach Izzo at Michigan State, depending on how the outcome of this coming weekend and Monday night. But the point is, 3 of the top 5, we've never seen that before. And they lost to no draft picks. And the guy who hit the shot of shots, the game winner, was a 5th-year senior named Kenny Goins. A 5th-year senior hit a 3? He was 1 for 7 at that point. Well, that's March Madness. That's why they call it Madness. Okay, so now Coach K needs the story leaked that, I'm going to have to go at this differently. I'm going to have to go back to the old formula, which is we need some longer staying kids. We need some sophomores and juniors, right? Because that's how we just got beaten by Michigan State. Well, to me, why you got beaten was you did your worst coaching job in 39 seasons at Duke. That was his 39th season. And again, I got nothing but respect, but I go on my eye test. He didn't even try to coach this offense. And now we're back to what Gino Auriemma said yesterday about the kids today. You just can't. It's just hard to coach them hard, right?
Okay.
Well, is it that we've come to the point that Coach K, with 3 of the top 5 draft picks and God knows how many advisors involved in this, right? And agents already involved in this. Is it possible that he had to just sit back and watch them on offense because they wouldn't listen to him?
Skip.
I don't know.
But here's the thing. Coach K has always recruited these guys. They make it seem like Elton Brand stayed 5 years.
But he's never had this much firepower. Like this is
But see,
whoa.
that's what it is, Skip, is that he had this firepower and he lost. Even though he had Justice Winslow and Okafor and Tyus Jones, they weren't as high rated as these guys. Zion Williamson is going to be the first pick in the draft. R.J. Barrett, by all marks and cut-ups, is going to be, at worst, number 2.
At worst.
So
and probably will be number 2.
And he got beat, Skip, by guys, as you mentioned. These guys, hopefully, get an opportunity to get called to a summer league and can make a G League squad at a later date and time, get called up.
Okay.
So he got beat by that, and so I got beat by guys that would play. Yes, but Coach K, you know, look, you would have never coached R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, or Cam Reddish if they could have went straight from high school to the NBA. You should feel fortunate. Kyrie Irving, all these guys, all these guys over the last, say, 5 or 6 years that's been one and done. They're doing this because they're forced to. I try to always fly direct. Sometimes with Mr. Sharpe, at the time you're flying, go into Canton, Skip. I would love to fly direct from L.A. to Canton, Ohio. But they say, Mr. Sharpe, you can either lay over in Atlanta or you can lay over in Detroit. Okay, they said if you want to come to the NBA, you can lay over at Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, but you got to lay over. So you're going to get to your destination if you're good enough, but you got to lay over. So, Coach K, go ahead and embrace it. You lost. It's okay.
What did I tell you Monday? I couldn't watch Duke on offense on Sunday. They had no offense.
But that's
There's
their
no
offense.
scheme. It's like, get the ball to the big fella and let him operate.
Right.
Some low post picks, some kind of screen, some ball screen, something. Do something to get him the basketball. But RJ's just saying, give me the ball and get out of my way, and I'll dribble through 3 guys and I'll try to make
But
this
that's
shot.
the thing, Skip. When you're so much more talented, you rely on talent as opposed to scheme and setting things up. I guess that's what made Coach Wooden so good. Not only did he have talent, he had a great way of running sets to get guys open.
Trust me, because I was around those teams. He ruled with an iron fist.
Yes.
And he could tell Bill Walton to shut up and sit down. You know,
but Bill said he didn't want to cut his hair. He said, well, Coach, what would you say? He said, I wish you well.
No, seriously. That's what happened.
Well, and it's a little different.
Okay, so what did we just see? We saw this supremely talented basketball team ever since Zion returned from the knee issue.
Right.
They were just living on borrowed time every night, even against Carolina in the ACC.
The first UCF.
Okay, well, what happened? Remember, North Dakota State jumped out to a lead against them in the 16 versus the 1. They were only up 4 at halftime on North Dakota State.
Right.
What does that tell you? That's wrong. Something's not going right. UCF, they should have lost. Virginia Tech, you can argue they should have lost.
Right.
And then finally, in the last seconds, they did lose to Michigan State.
Skip.
What does that tell you?
Coach K, the days of Johnny Dawkins, the days of Christian Laettner and Grant Hill and Hurley playing all 4 years, bye-bye.
Or Jay Bayless and Allery, do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not so sure if it was been in vogue like it is now. Maybe Grant Hill stayed because his father was well off, his mom was well off.
Maybe.
But it's hard for me to believe that these guys would have been staying 3 and 4 years when the payday is on the horizon.
I don't know.
Coach, you lost. It's okay.
The expectations for this group, you can't tell me that they didn't feel the pressure. Even though Zion was always well-spoken and said, I'm not worried about the pressure. You feel it. And they are kids. Like, we forget how old these guys are. No one's going to have a perfect game every time. I don't care who you are. They're kids.
But that's the Skip. There are certain programs that expectations. Alabama, what do you think the expectations are for Alabama? It's national championship or nothing.
Every single time.
It's Duke, it's national championship or nothing. That's what it is. So, Coach, if you think these guys are that talented that you can get them, and they're going to stay 4 years. If you think Zion Williamson is going to stay 3 years, you're crazy.
But remember, Saban still rules with an iron fist, but he's got
Has a
that you have to stay for 3
3
years.
years.
You have
Exactly.
to, okay?
That is
You think if
different.
Tua, what if Tua could have gone pro? You think Tua would have gone pro this year?
Yep.
Exactly.
I do.
And guess what? As soon as all those good guys that he has, the Quincy Williams and the Allens and the Julios and the Coopers, as soon as they can do it, what do they do, Skip? Bye.
Okay.
Listen, Coach K has been all-time great.
Yes.
He's won 5 titles, 12 Final Fours, but this year, I don't.
He underachieved.
He just
With that roster, he underachieved. It's
did.
as simple as that, Skip. He underachieved.
And that's hard for probably him to swallow at this point. And I think everyone's feeling that right
Look,
now.
you underachieve, but you overachieve when you beat UNLV. So chalk it up, Skip, because you should have lost to UNLV after they beat you by 100 the year before, and they brought everybody back.
They did.
We watched Russell Westbrook do something pretty special last night. Has everyone been underrating him? We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
Russell Westbrook rolled into the arena last night wearing a Crenshaw shirt, and he clearly wanted to dominate. He had the first 20-point, 20-rebound, 20-assist game since Wilt Chamberlain back in 1968. Russ said his historic performance last night was for his friend, Nipsey Hussle, who was a shooting victim here in L.A. over the weekend. Westbrook only needs 3 more assists to average a triple-double for the 3rd straight season. We're joined by Bleacher Report senior writer Rick Bucher.
Welcome.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Yes.
Rick, so I'm going to start with you here. What grade would you give Russ for this season?
I would love to give him an A for effort. I will give him a C+, and that's probably grading on a curve. What I appreciate is the fact that he has tried to reinvent himself, and he has struggled doing that. He has made room for Paul George. He's accepted that he's not the best player on the team. He's tried to play like a true point guard. But if I really evaluate how he's played, I can't give him more than that. His shooting percentages from the free throw line, 3-point, you name it, is well below his standard. And so I appreciate what he's trying to do, but this is a work in progress. And I can't give an A to a work in progress.
I think he looked at my notes, Skip.
Really?
Yeah, what I gave him.
Wow, yeah, you guys are on the same
You know what?
page.
I think you looked at his notes.
Skip, I gave him a C. And I know the triple doubles, but I think right now we've become numb to the triple doubles. And because we see so many people get them that we never thought would get a triple double. Seems like every night, there's not a single night that passes in which some NBA player does not have a triple double. But I agree with everything that you said. He's had to reinvent himself because he was a very selfish ball player, Skip.
Yep.
And maybe that chased KD away. But he's welcomed Paul George with open arms. And I'm sure people are saying, well, if you had done that with KD, he might still be in OKC as opposed to the Bay Area. But all his numbers are down. But you know the thing is, Skip, even though he's statistically having his worst year as far as free throw, field goal percentage, he's about the same shooting from the field. He's still impacting games. That says something in and of itself, that although he's having career worst from the free throw line, 3-point line, that he can still have an impact on the ball game. Now, it's helped that Paul George is having an MVP season, that he's probably going to finish 3rd or 4th in the MVP voting.
And don't take that away from Russ.
Right.
I mean, you have to make room for a guy to have an MVP season. You have to facilitate that.
Yes.
So he gets credit for that.
I give him credit for that. But the best I can do is give him a C also, Skip. I can't give him I know he plays hard. He's going to give me everything he's got, but the best I can give him is a C.
Before I say what I'm going to say, I also wanted to say about this man, he's an all-time great, and it's an honor to have you on this show. And he's been doing this for a long time, and nobody knows this league any better and is any more connected than this man. And I can't wait to talk about LeBron here in a few minutes because you had some bombshell reports about LeBron's season inside the Lakers. Now back to Russell Westbrook. In all my years of talking about and covering the National Basketball Association, this is the most contradictory, frustrating, tormenting player I've ever tried to figure out because there have been years I've fought with him and with his teammate Kevin Durant over why is he taking more shots than Kevin, because that one year, 2012-13, he took 102 more shots than Kevin Durant. I was a big Durant fan coming out of the University of Texas. How can you do that to him? Well, it's just how this man is made. It's how he's built. And for this year, I went B-, and I'm giving him the A for effort. I'm sort of averaging that in to give him the B- because he still plays with this all-out rage that's unlike anything I've ever witnessed before. Nobody has played harder every dribble than this guy. And I got to give him this. He has played much harder on defense this year than in the past. And for much of this year, this has been a really good, a vastly improved defensive basketball team, in large part because Paul George has just been dominant on defense. But all that considered, I'm probably high on my B-, but the shooting is horrendously bad. It's embarrassing. It's scary bad.
Right.
Because from three, he's shooting 28.6%, which there are 184 qualified three-point shooters. He's 182nd. That's hard to win that
And that's moved up since the beginning of the year.
Right.
I mean, he's actually shot it
and
better.
now he's got free throw demons that he's never had before because he's an 80% free throw shooter. And now he's 65.7, which ranks 115th of 122 qualified. When your ball dominant player is shooting that poorly from three in the free throw line, you're going to have a hard time winning, which is why going into last night, and I love last night, I love Distribute and his dedication, obviously, but they had lost 14 of their last 21 games to plummet from 3rd to 8th in the West. Okay, well, whose fault is that? Well, Paul George sort of hit the skids for a while, and his shoulder was banged up, and he went from MVP candidate, and I was beating the drum for him on this show for about a month, to shaky. And then Russell couldn't sort of pick up the slack, and they have been an enigma as a basketball team because they're so loaded with the two-star power, and Steven Adams putting up some career numbers this year, but not enough.
Steven Adams has struggled too. I mean, a number of guys have struggled. Russ in the Utah Jazz series last year went out guns a-blazing. Took 45 shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't enough.
Are you talking about Game 6? The
Yes.
closeout?
Yes.
Because in the third quarter, he and Donovan Mitchell went back and forth, and they both had in the 20s in the third quarter.
But it ultimately wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Well, Paul George just disappeared.
Paul George disappeared, didn't he?
Well, that's where Russ said, I'm not going to lose like this again.
Yep.
And I give him great credit because he's had a tremendous amount of success. He's been a league MVP.
Right. Yep.
He's made himself into a megastar.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? I want to put that aside
Right.
because I want to win.
Right. Yep.
And I got a guy in Paul George who can help me do that. So let me figure that out. And that's why it's hard for me. It pains me to give him a C+.
Right.
Because I appreciate what he's trying to do. He's basically, we've all said, we want you to play more like a true point guard. Okay, so that he's doing that now.
Right.
And now we're going to criticize him because he's not doing it well.
But he still got that two-guard mentality because he's still taking them shots even though he's shooting poorly. He's a scorer, not a shooter. Let me ask you this, and Skip said you've been around this game a long time. When KD left, did anybody think Russ could or would be this type of a player?
No. Everybody expected that he would take over.
Right.
But then you didn't know that you were going to get a Paul George there or that Paul George was going to stay. Right. And that is, it's really a love story in a lot of ways, and that those guys have found each other and are willing to play with each other in Oklahoma City. So, no. I mean, nobody ever expected Russ to change the way he does things.
Right.
And the fact that he has, you called him selfish. I don't think he's selfish. I think he's uber confident. And he always believed, KD, if you're not going to take this and you're not going to go now, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to go.
Right.
And so now he's realized his body's breaking down. Right. He hasn't won the championship. I have to do it a different way. And he's trying to do that.
Do you think his body's breaking down?
There's no question.
Because he is high. I told you earlier, he plays like football basketball.
Yes, but he's measuring things now. And I've been watching him all year. Is this the new approach by Russ? Or is this, multiple knee injuries? He came into the season late. I believe he's beginning to feel the effects of all the surgeries that he's had.
Man. I mean, he got over 100 triple-doubles in the last 3 years.
Yeah, but as you said, triple-doubles, the game's small. If you're as athletic and aggressive as he is, and as straight line as the game is, when he takes off on a fast break, he's either getting an assist or he's getting a bucket.
Right.
Every time.
Right.
That's just not the way the game was played. And since you don't have any 7-footers on the floor, if he chases a rebound, he's filling 2 of those boxes every single time down the floor.
But that's what's so amazing about it is that the amount of energy you have to exert to chase those rebounds.
No doubt.
Because, he's balls over like, oh, that's a rebound. That might lead to me a triple-double. He runs over there and grabs it, and he plays like this 80-plus times a year.
And it's not surprising that he would have this kind of performance when he's emotionally geared up.
Interesting.
Because of Nipsey Hussle. That's who he is. The problem is, and I saw him going all the way back against Miami.
Right.
He played that way every game. And I mean, he was like a tuning fork, a struck tuning fork. You can't sustain that.
Right.
At some point, you wear down or you break down. And that's where he is. And so now he's trying to find a way to funnel it.
Okay, so if it does wind up OKC Golden State round 1, what happens?
I believe that Golden State wins, but I believe that Oklahoma City takes a notch out of them that may cost them before they get to the
Maybe
finals.
I would buy that.
Oh, you think OKC will win more than a game?
2.
Potentially, yes. Yes.
2 games.
Yes.
Okay.
And whether it's 5 or 6, those are going to be hard games. Those are going to be physical games.
We get some do.
We don't have to do it yet, though.
no.
We got a little time
I got a
before
lot to
making
do
the
to
plan.
bet.
Yeah, you do.
Way
You
out.
always
We'll
do.
get some of the Spurs. I hope the Spurs fall to the 8th spot.
You guys mentioned KD a little bit, but we're going to talk about a different story here. Why does he keep feuding with the refs? We'll discuss and tell you next.
No mercy.
Before last night's game against the Nuggets, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green were fined for criticizing the refs last week. Then, in the third quarter last night, Durant was ejected again for complaining to the refs. The Warriors did get the win, and they're 2 games ahead of Denver for the top seed in the West. Rick Bucher is back with us. So, Rick, how vulnerable are the Warriors going into the playoffs?
I've said it all year. They've been vulnerable all year. They are a mediocre defensive team. They've been a mediocre defensive team all year. Everybody is sloughing it off to the fact that, it's boredom, it's fatigue. Once we get to the postseason, they'll be good to go. This is what I know about championship teams, and you guys do as well. Your habits make you who you are. They have developed an array of bad habits, particularly at the defensive end. When the game gets more physical in the postseason, the offense has still been terrific. It always will be. They just have too much firepower. That's not how the postseason is won. And so I look at that. I look at where they are physically. I believe this is a reflection. All these guys getting ejected, and they didn't criticize the refs. They mocked the referees the other night. It was a terrible, terrible look.
Terrible.
They look out of character to me. And I believe it is a reflection of they know that their game is not where it needs to be for them to win another championship. And they're just hoping that light is going to turn when they get to the postseason. I see guys physically that are, again, talked a little bit about it with Russ. I see guys who are physically worn down from the run and guys that are important at the defensive end.
Well, this is where, Rick, you and I are going to have to part ways. I don't believe they're vulnerable at all with injury and them being able to maintain their composure. Because right now, Draymond and KD both have 16 technical fouls. About to be suspended the game. You get another one, you get suspended the game. It resets once you get to the playoffs. You get 7, you go sit down. Injury, obviously, that takes everybody out of the equation. I believe this team healthy. I believe the Rockets are the only one that can give them a problem because the Rocket can shoot the 3 and they have a guy that can go get you 60. And I think at the end of the day, defense wins your championship, but you're going to have to score. Because the likelihood, Houston held them last year twice to under 100. They won both games.
They did.
But does Houston have that same type of defensive firepower with no Trevor Ariza, with no Mbah Moute? Basically, they go P.J. Tucker, Clint Capella, CP3. Harden has tried to play a little better, but that's not his expertise. He's an offensive magnifico. But when I look at this, the question that I always go back to, can someone beat them? Can OKC beat them a game? But can you beat them 4 times in 7 games? That's what you're going to have to do. And Houston Rockets came the closest we've seen someone to beating them last year.
They had them.
See, I think you believe, Rick, I don't know what you think. Had CP3 not injured that hamstring, I believe they take Golden State down. We'll never know. But you reset now, Skip, because it's a different ball game. So you start that process all over again. I believe if this team is healthy, they'll win the championship. Now, if KD messes around and get thrown out of a close ball game and it swings it, or Draymond or Boogie, now you got 3 hot heads on the team. You got Boogie, KD, and Draymond. So at any given moment, one of those guys could be lost in a close ball game. You lose one of those guys in a close ball game, you up out of there.
By the way, speaking of DeMarcus, he just dominated Jokic last night. That's like just shocking.
He gonna bully everybody except probably Embiid.
Yeah. That said, I'm with Rick on this. This team is the most vulnerable it has been since Kevin Durant knocked on the door and said, "Can I play?" Right?
Can I play?
It's not physically, it's mentally vulnerable. It's on hair trigger from night to night. I know they've said all the right things, but I still can't believe that KD and Draymond made peace over that early season B-word incident.
Well, ask him. He there.
A peace. They've brokered détente, shall we say? Are they boys? I mean, it used to be those guys would go out after all the time.
Right.
They were around each other. It's not like that, but they're putting all that aside to say we have bigger fish to fry.
Okay. Last Friday night, I watched that game, and I was just like horrified over the reaction at the end of the game because Steph Curry, who can be this sweet little cuddly play toy to a lot of people, what's his name, Murat Kogut, the ref?
Yeah.
They just went off on him. Steph made a tremendous shot to tie the game and ran up the floor just pointing at the referee. I'd never seen anything. It's like beneath the dignity of a two-time MVP.
He's like,
you did this. You did this.
Yeah.
What? And then
He's lucky he didn't get teed up right there.
Yes.
And then after the game, they all just unloaded on this referee who's a 10th year NBA ref, 500-plus games.
And Skip, the league, in their last 2 minutes report, they backed up every single thing the referees did.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay,
but that's fine.
Understood.
Be that as it may.
But they will go back at a referee if they get it really wrong.
Yeah,
we can
will.
debate, but they're all debatable. And the bottom line is, they're champions. You're supposed to be above this. Steph is supposed to be above this. Now you're going to taunt a referee because of one game against the Timberwolves?
Yeah,
really?
It was mocking, and that was a good word to use.
It was mocking. And then Draymond tweets after the game, it's like between the lines, but he tweeted TD for one tweet, Tim Donaghy, and then the next one was MK for Murat Kogut, saying they're somehow equal, right? And he got fined for that, and they all should have gotten fined more than they did because it was just little wrist slap fines. But this was ugly, out of control. What are you doing?
And they still had a game to play.
Yeah.
You talk about losing your focus. It's one thing if they go off afterward or the result is determined. You're in the middle of the game, and you are distracted by
A call.
Mocking a referee and putting yourself in danger of losing the game. I mean, if they go and they shoot a technical, game over, you haven't had a chance to win it.
But Skip, Kevin Durant foul cat. He was holding Karl Anthony Towns. It wasn't like, and guess what?
I'm letting that go. In the past, I know it's not like the NFL uncatchable ball, but it was like 20 feet over.
But that's why because he couldn't get there. But let me ask you a question. If they called that in the first quarter, is Kevin Durant upset? If they call that run that same play in the first quarter and Kevin Durant do exactly what he did.
Well, you know what? He was already upset because I thought for sure he was in the shooting motion and it was a foul.
Right.
She should have gone to the free throw line for a fourth point.
Yes.
Okay, but whatever. Again, the NBA backed that.
Two-time champions.
Yeah.
They've seen everything.
Right.
They've been through everything. This isn't the first time they've had a bad call against
Right.
them. And by the way, the number of times where I've seen teams that have tried to purposely foul at the end of a game and the referees are slow in blowing the whistle, if I've seen it that many times, they've experienced it that many times.
Right.
So I can't find, look, you can say whatever you want about the calls and the officiating, good, bad, indifferent. They are two-time champions, defending champions. You don't behave that way. They're above that. So that's where I start. They're the ones that should be conducting themselves differently. And I think, honestly, it's a reflection of, look, it's understandable. They're making this run, but trying to do it for the fifth time, right? It is hard.
Yep.
And your bodies break down, and they're doing it with the same horses. Like Andre Iguodala is not the same player.
Not even close. Not even close.
Did you see the box last night? He scored 0 last night. It didn't matter.
Yeah, that big contract they gave him, they're gonna be they're like, ooh.
Lest I remind you, he's part of the lineup of death. He's part of that closing lineup.
Yep.
Draymond Green hasn't been, and I love how Draymond Green's continuing to have to go after it. But from the beginning of the year, I've heard that he's dealing with challenging physical issues to get through this season because he's got a contract coming up.
Okay. Do you believe
those are key pieces? And yes,
Yeah.
Western Conference, I can't see that one team that beats them, but I can see a bunch of Western Conference teams that beat them up. And by they get to the time they get to the get to the NBA Finals, and they have to play the Toronto Raptors or the Boston Celtics, they are going to.
You ain't mentioned Milwaukee or Philly. You skipped. You just threw that out there. They think we were skipping. I was just gonna pass that up. You ain't mentioned Milwaukee or Philly.
I didn't. Yeah, not by accident either.
I didn't think you missed it.
Oh, Giannis got something to say about that.
Before we get to that, do you believe Kevin Durant has 1 foot out the door, and do you believe his teammates believe he has 1 foot out the door?
Not one.
Both of them.
2.
2 feet out the door.
From everything, and this is not from KD, it's not from KD's business manager, everybody else that I've talked to has basically said it's a done deal. Now, there's always, when you make a championship run and you're holding that trophy and you're with your boys in the locker room.
Yeah, this feels good.
Man, do I really, there's always that possibility. But from everything that I've heard, the pieces are already in place. This feels very much, in a lot of ways, like the last dance with the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
Like there's going to be changes, and KD's.
He gonna leave that bigger bag on the table? That's a $60 million bag he gonna leave.
He's going to New York.
Or he make it up.
He'll make it up there, and he gets something that, and this is, I know this from being in the Bay Area and being around that team.
That's Steph's team.
Exactly. He's never been fully embraced. He's never. He's a 2-time Finals MVP, and yet he doesn't get the full credit for being part of that, delivering that. And I think he wants to go someplace where he can have all that.
He was never going to be embraced because they raised Steph. Steph's their baby. KD's adopted. And I don't don't be called and say, oh, adopt, you don't love. But I'm just saying, the fans, they were there from step one. Step by step, they saw Steph do this. And then they see KD come from the outside. It's just, Skip, the same thing in Miami with LeBron. D-Wade is their guy.
True.
As great
That's
as
a good analogy.
As great as LeBron was, he was never going to be embraced in Miami like D-Wade. KD can win four Finals MVPs. They'll never love him like they love Steph Curry.
True.
That's so interesting to think about that he hasn't fully been embraced, considering the success.
Skip, you know what that means, Skip? Even if he doesn't come to L.A., he goes elsewhere.
Oh, a couple teams would welcome him with open doors, I think. Well, speaking of those Lakers, will they bring another superstar to L.A. this summer? I know Shannon is crossing the fingers for. We'll tell you next.
No mercy.
So the Lakers season, well, it has been a huge disappointment. With 4 games left in the season, they have just 35 wins, which is their same win total as last year. LeBron has been shut down for the rest of the season, and last month, Rick Bucher quoted an anonymous Western Conference GM as saying about LeBron, quote, he's not good enough anymore to take 4 cadavers and get to the finals. So good for us. Rick is still with us. And that quote, we talked about a lot around here. We've been mentioning it since that article came out.
Hey.
What do you think, Rick, that Lakers will look like on opening night next season?
First of all, I just appreciate that I get to be here at ground zero of the battle. It is a joy to be in the midst of this. Where do I see them at the beginning of next season? I see them with a new head coach. I see them with a B-list star signed through free agency.
Really?
And yeah,
Such
I believe
as, like
Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker, and probably paying A-list money for a B-list player. The issue is going to be how do you fit and how do you build the rest of the roster? And that's going to be the challenge for Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. And that's where you have to be in the weeds. And that's where you have to have relationships and you have to be able to dig out those hidden gems. And that's where when we set the bar, because I know you've set the bar and the expectation is LeBron James came here to win a championship. He's going to deliver at least one to the Lakers. That's where I just don't see it happening. Even if LeBron, with this time off and comes back and he's healthy and he's re-energized and he gets his Robin, championships are built. What are we talking about with the Warriors and why they're breaking down? Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston. Those are the key elements when you play for a championship. I don't see how the Lakers get done everything they have to do as far as the core this summer, and then they're getting all of the ancillary pieces as well. It's just too much to expect in one offseason.
So no KD, no Kyrie, no AD?
And no Kawhi.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Striking out on all the A-lists.
Yeah.
Because?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, number one is, and this was part of the piece that I did with LeBron, is that most of the guys that are available, one, they basically play the same position. Paul George, Kawhi, KD, and they look at it, they want to compete with LeBron. They don't want to go add to his legacy. They want to build their own.
Right.
The second part is, and through no fault of his own, LeBron sucks all the oxygen out of the room. If you lose, if you don't succeed, it's your fault. If you win, it's LeBron's
credit.
So why shouldn't I go and do my own thing? Right. It's not that they don't like him. It's not personal. And they're also reading the tea leaves. He's 34, going on 35. Why should I go to Lakers? I'm going to end up holding the bag. And if we win, I'm not going to get the full credit anyway.
You proud of yourself? You happy with that?
Well, I feel sorry for you, right?
Don't feel sorry for me. We're going to be all right.
You're gonna be okay?
Wait a second. This is your lowest moment in the history
It
of
is.
Undisputed.
I don't like what I'm hearing.
Yeah?
I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't like it at all.
I'm hearing 8th seed again. You know,
No.
like,
I believe they'll be, but they can't be worse. But I look at it, there's no way they can come back with the same team. Even if they get a Kemba, even if they get a Jimmy Butler, I believe you're going to have to move Alonzo. You're going to have to move an Ingram or Kuzma because you're going to have the same problem. Because then again, even if you get Jimmy Butler, LeBron, Ingram, Kuzma, they're the same.
Right.
They're the same. So you're going to have to move one or two of these guys and try to get something in return. Maybe you can package them and get a Bradley Beal if you don't get a Kemba Walker. But you're going to have to add something. I just believe that unless you get that ping pong ball that has Zion Williamson's name on it, that's the only way you can get an Anthony Davis. There's no way the Pelicans, they've made up their mind. They're not trading him to the Lakers. And I don't know, does he want to wait another year? LeBron will be 36 by the time he gets there.
It's not the chronological age. It's that you're 17, 18 with all-time, with record mileage.
Right. Yep. So with that being said, I can see them getting – what KD leaving the Warriors does is that it makes the foundation has considerable cracks in it. So now everybody feels like – because everybody feels like they're fighting an uphill battle when they go up against Golden State, when the team is assembled the way it is. Yeah, and they won before. But getting KD made them almost invincible, especially the last 2 years.
Yep.
But I wouldn't count LeBron out just when you think it's safe to come out. Just when you said, you know what, that old dog. You know, Skip, we had a dog one time, that dog won't bite anymore. And all he do is stay up on the porch. And for the most part, he wouldn't. But every once in a while, there were certain people that could get him to bite. There are certain things that can be said to get old King James to do what you think he can't do.
What if that old dog has lost all his teeth?
That's what he's
I don't like that analogy.
He
I don't
cut
like
me down.
He's going to dumb him to death, right? Man, there's only one miracle cure, and that is the two overgrown kids, KD and Kyrie, who have now been they're besties. You know, if suddenly for some whim, some spur of the moment, July 1st, they say, you know what, let's go help LeBron win one more. And I know it's against the grain, it's against all conventional wisdom, but that's the only fix where then I'd say, okay, here you go. You got a shot now. Because that would work. Not only would Kevin leave Golden State, he'd be your teammate.
Right.
Do they love LeBron enough to say, let's go fix this for him? Again, you say doubtful, highly doubtful.
I don't see anybody motivated to do that. And Shannon, I got to ask you.
Yes.
Because, look, LeBron didn't come. I know what he said. In my heart of hearts, I don't believe he came here to win championships. I believe he came here to set up his post-playing career. And he has had the pedal to the metal when it comes to that. And I don't fault him for that.
I do.
The only part I don't like is just be honest with us.
They can't.
Like, don't say I'm in playoff mode. Don't say I'm here to win championships. Say, you know what, I've always wanted to play for the Lakers. They have a great franchise. I hope I can take them back to their place of prominence. But don't make promises that everything else that you're doing says to me is not at the forefront.
Well, he wasn't playing. Here's the thing. Look, you got a nice car. You put the pedal to the metal. You go, woo. That's all you got. You can't open it. You can't stop it through the floor and make it go faster. That was all he had. Given what he had to work with, this was all LeBron could do. All he could do was give you 29, 10, and 10, and that wasn't enough.
No, but the car only has 210 horsepower to start with, so you can push it to the floor and it'll only go so fast.
Well, he started. He need go-karts. Well, he got go-karts that got 50 horsepower. That's what he's playing with.
Okay.
Give him some Formula One. Give him a Kevin Durant.
Last quick question for Rick.
Okay.
In your March 14th bombshell report, you said Jeannie Buss got so angry with Rich Paul over the whole AD debacle and chaos that ensued that she briefly considered just getting rid of LeBron and Rich Paul. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And have they mended fences?
Yes, they have spoken, and like where they are in that relationship, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
She still has people in her ear saying, you might need to take a hard look at this.
Okay.
Because basically what you're doing is you have to build a team for LeBron. There's only one LeBron.
Right.
So you're going to build a team for LeBron, and then LeBron has what, a year, 2 years left?
3.
Boy.
3.
I noticed you were looking at his Instagram.
You know, he's always watching. Rick, such good stuff. I wish we had more time with you, but thank you for being here today. We've got more LeBron to talk about because one of his former teammates had a very interesting criticism to say about him. We'll tell you next.
Rick, you come.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Channing Frye had an interesting opinion about his former teammate LeBron. He was asked by The Athletic what he would tell his children about playing with the King and said, quote, he has a smelly breath. I'm Kyle Korver, and I fixed his jumper for 1 year.
Jenny said that very softly because she was afraid that lightning was going to strike.
I mean, it's kind of mean.
It is.
So, Shannon, is this inbounds or out of bounds?
It's inbounds because this is the type of relationship that they have. Everybody knows that follows him on Instagram or follow him on Twitter that Shannon Frye is a big jokester, is a big prankster. So, no, I'm not surprised. I'm sure he and LeBron didn't talk this out. Skip the podcast that he and Richard Jefferson had.
Road tripping.
Yeah. So
with Alec Clifton.
Yeah, all that's inbound. Yeah. I'm good with it.
Are you?
Yeah, LeBron's good with it too.
What has happened to Channing Frye? Because for years he was this nice, quiet. He was a 7-footer who shot threes before it was in vogue, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a soft player. Yeah. And all of a sudden he's the next Richard Pryor. Like he's doing stand-up, right?
Yeah.
And I read the whole Athletic interview, and he's killing everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah,
what?
Everyone.
Everybody told him that he sucked. He's like, you know what? I'm rich. I'm retired. I'll see you in 24 hours.
So the first thing he remembers about LeBron is he's got smelly breath? Really? I mean, it's probably true, but
no,
it's
it ain't
like
true.
Low blow.
Stop it, Skip.
Huh?
Stop it.
I'm not piling
on.
I'm just stating
You feeling good. You know what? You feel emboldened by what Rick Bucher said. I can tell you got a little pep in your step now.
No, I'm starting to feel sorry for
Don't feel sorry. Keep that energy July 1st.
Really?
July 1st.
Well, that's
not July. July.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.